All right, everyone. Hi, I'm ASAP Zonk. If you don't know me, and I am a collector and a reseller of video games, toys, and more. Today, I'm going to give you my honest opinion about the 10 rarest consoles released in the US. So, I own most of these consoles except for one, and I'll tell a little story about how I got them, how I got one of them, and also why I think it's rare. So we're going to go with number 10, and it's going to be the Sega 32X. Why is that number 10? Because I found multiple of these over the years. I've been doing this for 5 years. I found multiple of these, but they only sold like 1 million, and they're not. There's not that many games on it, and you don't really can walk in the retro store. They'll have one of these. I mean, it's kind of hard to find in certain areas. How I got one was I got at a flea market about 5 years ago for like $15, and yeah, and it's a cool system. I mean, I found one in the box a few years ago and stuff, but I do see them come up for sale, and they only sold 1 million units, and it was the bridge between the 32X and Saturn, so it did not sell well. That's why it's at number 10. At number 9, I'm going to go with the Turbo Graphics, the Standard Edition, not the CD or Duo. Stay tuned where they rank because they are on this list. The Standard Turbo Graphics, you can find them at any game store usually. They do sell out quick. You can find them on eBay, but it is a hard-to-find system. Sold about the same thing as the 32X. I'm a big TurboGrafx collector, and I love the TurboGrafx. That's the best 16-bit system ever. Beats the Genesis and Super Nintendo. Sorry, but not sorry. Great system, great games, bonk, and everything else. How did I get my first one? I made a trade for it. I was on Craigslist about 3 years ago, and somebody posted TurboGrafx with the booster, and no wires, no nothing, and I was intrigued. I found out about the TurboGrafx in 2014 from a friend at the flea market. He said, "Oh, did you ever hear about the TurboGrafx?" I said, "What?" And he explained, and I'm like, "Wow, that's a pretty cool ass system." And he was like, "Yeah, they're hard to find." So I found one that way. Then eventually I got my boxed one off of one of Secondhand Daisy's neighbors. I gave him like $50 for it. I got that with Bonk in the box and volleyball. That was about 3 years ago in 2015/16. And then I found other ones doing like, in the wild, really, I found them. So, yeah. So I found about 7 or 8 of them within the past few years. And a lot of them were in the wild or drew trades. I did trade for one. So, it does happen. And that's why it's ranked so high, number 9. Some people say, "I never saw TurboGrafx before." In my area, TurboGrafx are everywhere. Just the games are hard to find. At number 8, 8 and 7 are interchangeable in my opinion. At number 8, I would say it's the CDI, which I do not own. I did own one. I bought one on eBay sealed in the box for $75, and I flipped it for like $300. The CDI is a hard to find system. I do see the games around. That's why it's so high, because I do see the games a lot, and nobody really likes it. It's an educational system that kind of sucks. I wouldn't recommend it. It has like some Zelda and Mario games, but that's basically it. Because what happened was Nintendo signed a deal with Philips. They were supposed to make a disc drive for the Super Nintendo, and this is how the PlayStation was created, kind of, because Nintendo screwed over Sony, and then they went to Philips, and then Sony said, F Nintendo, we're going to make their own system, and now they're the biggest competition to this date. Anyway, just a little backstory. But the CDI, I do find the games a lot. Over the years, I probably found a bunch of them. The educational games are everywhere. I bought a bucket full at the Columbus Flea Market a few years ago. And then I find them from time to time. CDI games are so easy to find. And again, if I look hard, I probably could find a system. But if I do find one, I probably wouldn't pay more than $50 for it. Because unless if it had Zelda and Mario, I probably would pay like $200-300 for it. But I mean, alone, it's such a niche system. Nobody really wants it. And it's a terrible system. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So that's why he's ranked at number 8. And I know there's more TurboGrafx out there, but people buy more TurboGrafx more, if that makes sense. At number 7 is the Panasonic Gold Star 3DO. Yeah, I said both because That's what you find in the wild. You can find both. I just recently got one for $50, and you can see that in one of my recent videos. So I got one $50 at a garage sale with a bunch of games. And I do find the games often, maybe like a few times a year. I do come across the games. Never came across the system until a few weeks ago. And I got the Gold Star model, which is rare. There's some really good games on the system, and this is in between of the TurboGrafx and the CDI, in my opinion. It's some educational stuff, and then you have some good games like the TurboGrafx. And it's a cult following for 3DO. I know a lot of 3DO collectors. I don't know that many CDI collectors, but I do know a lot of 3DO collectors. And game stores do get these in from time to time. You can find them, and I do see 3DO stuff in the wild, but not as much as TurboGrafx or CDI, and both of those are hard to find to begin with. No, that's why it's at number 7. Also, remember, the 3DO was $700 when it came out, and that could be another problem. Same thing with the CDI, that was about $700 when it came out. So, yeah, that's probably the problem. So, at number 6, we're going to go with the Atari Jaguar. And that was Atari's last system, and it's very hard to find. I found games from time to time. You can find games. I see games all the time for the Jaguar. It's just like TurboGrafx and the other two I mentioned. You can find the games, but the system is harder to find than the games a lot of times. I got mine from a person in New York. I traded a Pokemon Soul Silver for a console alone, and then I traded my friend Matt for Alien vs. Predators for it. So I do have a working console with the game, and that's the only one I saw and found. I never really met somebody who found a Jaguar in the wild, locally or anything, in New Jersey for that sake, or New York. So yeah, that's why the Atari Jaguar is number 6, and it is rare as hell, and that's why they do come for a big price tag. So that's why it's number 6, and it's a good system. If you like that sort of thing, you should try it out. And it's nothing against. I don't have nothing against the Jaguar. At the midway point, at number 5, I'm going to say, which is kind of interesting, and at the same time, I'm going to say it's a Turbo Express, the handheld TurboGrafx. Why do I think it's kind of rare? Because you can't find one working. Every one you find is broken. It needs caps, or it's just shot. The screen shot, it with dead pixels. It needs a new caps. To find a working Turbo Express is very hard. And I found one in the wild, and I actually found 3 in the wild, but I didn't get to 2 because one was overpriced and broken, and the other one was broken, and the guy wanted way too much for it. And again, twice overpriced and broken. And the first one I found in the wild, I paid. This was about 3 years ago. I got my Atari Lynx with that as well, same night. I think I paid like $75 for it. And back then, that was about half price because they were going for about $150 then. And I did get it recapped and everything, and it's one of my staples in my collection. I love the Turbo Express. Such a great system. But it is very hard to find. It's a handheld TurboGrafx. Plays all TurboGrafx games and everything else like that. So that's why I'm going to rate it at number 5, because it's very hard to find. At number 4, we're going to go with 2, actually, systems. We're not going to go with one. We're going to go with 2 systems that are kind of similar. We're going to go with the Turbo CD, TurboGrafx CD, and we're going to go with the Jaguar CD. Personally, I only saw one of each in the wild in my life, and the Atari Jaguar CD was overpriced. The Turbo CD was also overpriced. I bought mine from Digital Press in Clifton, New Jersey, and at the time I spent $300. It came with the system, and it came with a TurboGrafx system, and I sold the TurboGrafx system. No, I paid $220 actually, and I sold the TurboGrafx system for $60, and yeah. I actually brought it broken, and I fixed it myself. So $220 back then, in like 2015-ish for that. Again, TurboGrafx collector. Both are very hard to find. Were released very limited, and it's very hard to find both. I would put them a little higher if I could, but I really can't, because there's more desirable systems out there that rank higher, that people say they're the holy grails. I feel the Jaguar CD and the Gyro CD could be Holy Grail. TurboGrafx CD could be Holy Grail, yes. But I feel the next systems ahead of this are much more harder to find. Because I just feel that way. Honestly, the top 4 could be interchangeable. Well, the top from 4 to 2 could be interchangeable. The last one, it's insanely hard to find, and trust me, you probably really never saw one before. At number three, we're gonna go with the CDX, the Sega CDX, and the JVC XI, which basically is the same system, but made by 2 different companies. This is a combo Genesis with the CD. I did find a CDX a few days ago. Watch my video. And the XI, I did own the XI before, and I sold it like 2 years ago. The XI and the CDX both didn't sell well. They were very expensive when they came out. And they both are very rare systems because it's a combo. And they didn't sell that well. I think they sold like less than 1 million units. And people want them. These are very highly collected items. Like, you won't really find an Atari Jaguar CD collector, but you'll find somebody who wants a CDX and an XI. So they are very hard to find because they're a combo system. And yeah, you probably won't really find one anywhere. Even game stores don't really get them in that much. I saw Atari Jaguar at a game store. Atari Jaguar CD actually. I never saw our store have a CDX or a XI. So at number 2, it's going to be the Turbo Duo. That's the combination Turbo CD / TurboGrafx. And I never saw one in the wild. And how I got mine was I traded for it. I traded $400 worth of games, and I got that with Ease 1 and 2, and the Gates of Thunder, Bonk's Revenge, Bonk's Adventure, and Bomberman Turbo CD game. I met the guy and I traded for it. And that's a very hard to find system. I think that ranks out of everything, only because they never friggin' work. And they're hard to fix. The caps get messed up, and the CD drive doesn't work. Just like at the Turbo Express, they're hard to find working. And again, they don't really have that many good games. Well, Turbo Duo has a lot of games, and they do have some great games for it, but a lot of them are Japan only. And the Turbo Duo was a staple in my collection and my holy grail until I got the number 1 choice on this. And if you're a retro game collector, you know what's coming. At number 1, it's the granddaddy of consoles. It's the holy grail of many people. It's the Neo Geo AES US release version. And the Neo Geo AES is basically the arcade machine but squeezed down into home console. They did not sell well. The games were $250 alone. The system was $750, and you could buy like 3 Super Nintendo games or 4 Super Nintendo games back in the day, or Genesis or TurboGrafx games. Then you can buy 1 Neo Geo game. You either buy 1 Neo Geo game or 4 of the other ones. You pick. You could buy 3 consoles and buy 2 games for each back then. And yeah, instead of buying the whole Neo Geo. Did not sell well. The US consoles are hard to come by. I did find one at a flea market, which you can see in my videos. And that's basically the only one that I found ever. And I probably won't find another one ever. A lot of people who I talk to, that's the holy grail, and that's very hard to find. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. I'll do more top 10s if you like it. So let me know if you like it. Subscribe, comment, subscribe to my friends. Secondhand Daisy, Video Gamer Daryl, Nas of Nostalgic, Bargain Barons. You can see them in my channel tab on my profile. Just click on my name. Follow me on Instagram, please. Same name as my YouTube. This is my personal account. And I also have a selling account, which you'll see once you follow my personal account. Also, I want to give shout out to my girlfriend, Paige. Always watch my videos. And I hope everybody enjoys their day. And please subscribe, because I need 1,000 subscribers. I get a lot of views on some of my videos, but I'm not getting paid for it. Help me out, please. And subscribe. I will subscribe back. Anyway, guys, have a nice day. This is ASAP Zonk. I wish you all well. If you disagree with anything that I said, please comment and let me know. And also, again, if you want to see another video like this, and I can talk about rare games or rare handhelds or anything else in the industry, comment and let me know. I wish you guys luck, and just have a nice day. Bye.